Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to share a story that perfectly illustrates the classic case of you reap what you sow, and it involves my time working for a major grocery chain. I promise it's a roller coaster ride filled with twists and turns and a hefty dose of irony. So, let's set the scene. I had just wrapped up my training in leadership, where we were all gathered for a mandatory session on proper call-out procedures for our teams. Now, I've been in management for quite a while, previously running a high-volume brew pub and even a multi-screen cinema. So, I know a thing or two about labor laws and employee relations. During the training, our regional HR asked a question that threw me for a loop. They asked, "What do you do if an employee texts you to call out?" Without missing a beat, I replied, "Ignore the text." The HR rep looked back at me, clearly ready to school us all. No, you need to tell them to call out on our designated call-out line. Make sure they leave their name, employee ID, and shift. I raised an eyebrow and asked, "Do I have to?" "Yes," they insisted. All right, I thought, but I wasn't going to shake hands with madness without a paper trail. So I said, "Okay, but can you shoot us an email with that information after the class?" And guess what? They actually did. Fast forward about 3 months later. I was minding my business when I received a text from a new employee who somehow snagged my phone number. They texted me, "Hey, I can't make it in tomorrow." I felt a little uncomfortable that they had my number, but I brushed it off. I texted back, "Call the call-out line. Leave your name, employee ID, and shift." Here's where the plot thickens. The next day, while I was off, I decided to put in a timekeeper request for an hour of labor. Now, let me explain something crucial. In my state, if you work even a single minute off the clock, the company is obligated to pay you for that hour. And since I was already scheduled for 6 days, this little incident counted as another day of work. So my entire Sunday shift was clocked at time and a half, because I had technically worked 7 days straight during that week. Can you guess how much that added to my paycheck? A whopping $200. That's $166 for time and a half for my Sunday shift, plus the $40 for that Wednesday when I had the day off. But here's where things take a turn. About a week later, I got called into HR. My heart raced as I walked into that office, and the atmosphere was thick with tension. They accused me of abusing the system, claiming I'd taken advantage of the rules. They wanted to write me up for it. I couldn't believe the audacity. I calmly reminded them that they were the ones who instructed me to handle the employee's text in that manner. If they wanted to punish me for following their guidelines, they could very well see me in court, and they'd be paying a lot more than just my paycheck. I also pulled out their email from the training, the very document that outlined the proper procedures they had set in stone. I said, "Look, I value my work-life balance. Even a minute of work is still work, and I expect to be compensated for every moment of it." Their response? "Okay, we'll need to discuss this with the director of HR. We'll get back to you." And you know what? They never did. My paycheck came through as usual, and about a week later I received another email from HR. This time it was a follow-up, clarifying to all leadership that employees were not to text managers during their time off. They recommended that any pressing issues should be directed to the store, which could then decide if it warranted reaching out to us. It felt like a small victory. I mean, my time is my time, and I deserve to be paid for it. And thankfully for them, they never retaliated against me. I wasn't bluffing when I said I'd consult a lawyer if it came to that. I could have walked away with a nice payout. So what's the takeaway from this experience? Sometimes when you're thrust into a situation that seems unfair, you just have to stand your ground and remind them of their own rules. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever found yourself in a similar situation where following the rules backfired on the people enforcing them? Drop your stories in the comments below. I'd love to read them.